Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And
Mm.
today we're looking into something kind of unsettling. The
Yeah.
case of Peter Holbrook.
Oh, yeah, Peter Holbrook.
Now, on the surface, he was just a tanning salon owner,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
not something that would usually come up on a true crime show.
Exactly.
But behind that very normal facade was a secret.
Yeah, a secret that took investigators 5 years to uncover.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to deep dive into this case and try to figure out how he was able to operate undetected for so long.
Yeah, what's really fascinating to me is how he was able to blend in, He
Right?
seems so normal.
Yeah, you go to a tanning salon to relax.
Right, exactly.
Not to, you know, become a victim in some horrific crime.
Yeah, nobody's expecting that.
So how did he pull this off for so long?
Right.
One of the first things that struck investigators was just how meticulous his record keeping was.
His record keeping.
Yeah, like detailed logs of every client.
Oh, wow.
And we're not talking just names and contact info.
Right.
This was way beyond that.
So what kind of information are we talking about?
I mean, he had physical descriptions. He was noting things like birthmarks and tattoos.
Wow, it's almost like he was making a catalog.
Yeah, and that's a big red flag when you think about, you know.
Yeah, what we know now.
Exactly.
It's pretty creepy.
So initially, investigators are stumped.
Mm.
They have 4 missing women.
Uh-huh.
No connection between them.
Yeah, they seem completely random.
Yeah, totally different ages, different backgrounds.
So how did they finally make a breakthrough?
Well, they realized that all 4 women were clients at Holbrook's salon.
Okay, so that's the common thread.
Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious in hindsight,
Right.
but if they hadn't made that connection,
Yeah, he might have gotten away with it.
yeah, possibly.
It's scary to think about.
And this is where technology kind of comes into play.
Okay, how?
Holbrook had a network of security cameras.
Security cameras.
Yeah, but we're not talking,
Yeah.
just the tanning booths.
Right.
He had cameras everywhere.
Every.
Hallways, waiting areas, even the bathrooms.
Whoa, that's a bit excessive.
Yeah, way more than your average security setup.
It does seem that way.
Almost like he wanted to document every single movement in the salon.
Right, and you would think that would make it easier to catch him.
Yeah, you'd think so, right?
But remember, this was before widespread cloud storage
Oh,
and
yeah.
facial recognition software.
So investigators had hours of footage to go through.
Yeah, it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Totally. And this is where Holbrook made his critical mistake.
Okay, what did he do?
In one clip, he accidentally filmed himself with one of the victims.
Who's one of the victims?
Yeah, and it was in a part of the salon that was off limits to clients.
So even with all that planning, he slipped up.
It's almost ironic, right?
It really is.
Like his meticulously crafted facade crumbled because he wasn't careful enough.
Wow.
And with that evidence,
Yeah.
investigators got a warrant to search his house.
Uh-huh. And what did they find?
Well, for starters, there were dolls.
Dolls.
Yeah, but not just any dolls.
I
They
thought-
were all dressed up and labeled with the names of each missing woman.
Oh my God, that is so creepy.
They were crossing the line from creepy into something far more sinister.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there were the journals,
Urinal.
pages and pages of his writings about the victims.
What did he write about them?
Well, there's one chilling quote that stood out.
Okay, what was it?
He wrote, "Love never dies, but rejection festers. It grows, and someday it must be avenged."
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah, it gives you a glimpse into his motive.
Yeah, it sounds like he had some serious issues with rejection.
Yeah, maybe he saw these women as rejecting his advances, and that fueled his rage and his desire for revenge.
It's possible, but we're dealing with a very disturbed individual here.
Right.
Trying to apply logic to his actions might not be possible.
And the most unsettling part is that when they arrested him,
Yeah.
he remained totally calm.
Really?
Yeah, his only words were, "Love never dies."
He just kept repeating that phrase.
It's like he believed he was justified.
It's chilling to think that someone could commit such horrific acts
Right.
and feel no remorse.
Yeah, that's truly disturbing.
It really is, and it reminds us that evil doesn't always, present itself in a loud or obvious way. Sometimes it's quiet and calculated.
Yeah, and that can be even more frightening.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. And it's a chilling reminder that appearances can be deceiving, right? Evil can hide beneath a veneer of normalcy.
totally.
We've talked about Holbrook's, meticulous record keeping
Yeah,
and his creepy journals.
right.
But there's another layer to this case that I think we need to explore a bit more.
Okay, I'm all ears. What else is there?
Well, let's go back to those security cameras for a minute.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier how surprising it was to find such a complex system in a tanning salon back then.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like overkill.
Right, and that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The cameras Holbrook used weren't, your typical off-the-shelf models.
Okay.
He'd actually modified them, like added additional lenses
Wow.
and recording capabilities.
So he was pretty tech savvy.
Oh, yeah. He even had some cameras disguised as everyday objects,
Like what?
like air fresheners and smoke detectors.
Oh my God, that is next level creepy.
It really is, and it suggests a level of, technical expertise that investigators just didn't anticipate.
Right, because back then this wasn't like, DIY surveillance is so common now.
Right.
Yeah.
That Holbrook was ahead of his time.
In a very disturbing way.
Yeah, for sure.
So not only was he, methodical and meticulous in his planning and record keeping,
All right.
but he also had the skills
Yeah.
to create this elaborate surveillance network.
It's like something out of a spy movie.
Yeah, but much more sinister.
Yeah, much darker.
And it makes you wonder, like, what else he might have been capable of.
Right, if he hadn't made that one mistake.
It's scary to think about.
It is, but it also brings up a really interesting point. We've talked about how technology was a tool for Holbrook's crimes,
Right.
but it was also the key to his capture.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Totally. This case really highlights the complex relationship we have with technology.
Right. Like, on the one hand, it gives individuals like Holbrook the means to commit these horrific crimes.
Right.
But on the other hand, it also provides law enforcement with powerful tools to investigate them.
Exactly. It's like this constant arms race.
Yeah, technology is fueling both sides.
And as technology keeps advancing, it's only going to get more complicated.
Okay, so we established that Holbrook was methodical,
Right.
tech savvy,
Yeah.
and driven by this like twisted sense of revenge.
Yeah.
But what about the victims?
That's a good point. We haven't talked much about them.
Yeah, we can't lose sight of the fact that, behind all the technical details and the psychological analysis, these were real women.
Real women with lives and families.
Exactly. And their stories deserve to be heard.
Absolutely. Not just as, entries in Holbrook's creepy catalog,
Right.
but as individuals who were tragically taken too soon.
So let's take a moment to remember them. Sarah, Emily, Jessica, and Maria.
Their lives were cut short, their potential unfulfilled.
And it's a reminder that, the impact of crimes like this extends far beyond the immediate victims.
Yeah, it ripples outward, affecting families, friends, entire communities.
It's a sobering thought, and it makes you wonder, like, how can we prevent something like this from happening again?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
If there were easy answers, crimes like this wouldn't exist.
Right.
But I do think one crucial takeaway is the importance of awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah, not just awareness of our surroundings and potential dangers, but awareness of the people in our lives.
So you mean like being able to spot those red flags?
Exactly, like Holbrook's obsessive record keeping or his unusual, surveillance setup.
Right.
But it goes beyond that, too.
Yep.
It's about creating a culture where people feel comfortable speaking up,
If they see something that seems off.
Exactly. It's about fostering open communication and encouraging people to trust their instincts.
So it's not just about being vigilant ourselves, but also like empowering others to do the same.
Yeah, we need to create a network of support where people feel safe reporting suspicious behavior.
Without fear of being judged.
Exactly. And that starts with open dialogue and a willingness to listen.
It's not just about locking our doors and being suspicious of everyone we meet.
Right.
It's about fostering a sense of community.
Yeah, a collective responsibility.
I think that's a good segue into our final thoughts on this case.
Yeah.
But before we do, I'm curious what stood out to you the most about this deep dive.
For me, I think it's the juxtaposition of the mundane and the horrific.
What do you mean?
Well, you have a tanning salon, right?
Yeah.
A place that's supposed to be about relaxation and beauty.
Right.
And it becomes the stage for such darkness.
Yeah, that is strange.
It's a reminder that evil doesn't always announce itself, Sometimes it hides in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary.
And that is what's so unsettling, right? Like that evil can be so close to home, just hiding in plain sight.
It is, and it really, it reinforces the importance of trusting your instincts.
Oh, yeah.
Like if something feels off, if someone's behavior seems strange or unusual,
Right.
don't ignore those feelings.
Yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We explored Holbrook's planning,
Yeah.
his journals, the role of technology,
Huh?
and the tragic impact this all had on the victims and their families.
Right. It's been a heavy conversation.
It has been. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one takeaway you'd like to leave our listener with? What's the most important lesson we can learn from this case?
I think the most crucial lesson is this: never underestimate the power of those seemingly insignificant details.
Oh, interesting.
Like in this case, it was Holbrook's slip up on camera, that one little mistake
Yeah.
that ultimately led to his downfall.
Wow.
But it applies to our own lives too, you know?
Okay.
Pay attention to those small details, those gut feelings, those red flags that something might be wrong. Don't dismiss them as paranoia or overthinking.
Right.
Trust your instincts.
Just
They can
okay.
save your life or the life of
Mhm.
someone you care about.
That's a powerful message to end on. Trust your instincts, be aware of your surroundings, and never assume that evil only exists, in dark alleys or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. And remember, while this case highlights the darkness that exists in the world, it also showcases the resilience of the human spirit.
In what way?
Well, the investigators who tirelessly pursued justice,
Huh.
the families who fought for their loved ones,
Right.
and the communities that, rallied together to support one another,
Yeah.
even in the face of tragedy. There's hope, there's strength, and there's that collective determination to create a safer and more just world.
Yeah, that's a good point. So on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the tanning salon murders. It's been a chilling journey, but hopefully one that's left you with some valuable insights. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe.